Back to maths. We're looking at tables today. So I've got a table in front of me. Bit of context. This table is obviously representing, as you can see by the title, the locations of Logan walks. So where I go and walk my dog. We either go to the park or to the pond. Those two locations. And then you can see I've got our weeks down the side. So we've got our headings at the top. So the first week, the second week, the third week that I've documented. And we could continue this on and on. Then it's really just about understanding and analysing the table in order to answer questions. But there might be some more information we need to add on to make our lives easier. So you can see in the first week, I went to the pond a little bit more. So if we kind of think about just looking at the table in terms of understanding what those numbers mean. So I went to the park more, or sorry, less there, the pond more. There I went to the park more, and that was kind of an even split. But often you're going to be asked questions in order to answer about kind of the table and what it does. So the first thing we might want to think about is the layout of the table. And obviously it's consisted of columns that go up and down and rows going across. Now, using these numbers, we're going to put them together to help us answer questions and make them a little bit easier. So the first thing we might want to do is find kind of a total for kind of how many days I went out walking the dog in each week. So it might be that I either add a column on here or I can just do some jottings at the side. So because we're working our way across on our rows, I want to know in that first week, how many times did I actually go and walk the dog? Was I really good or was it a bit lazy? And you can see here, I went to the park twice, I went to the pond 8 times. So in total that's 10. Now I've got 3 numbers there, and you've noticed I've only added 2 of them up, because obviously this is referring to the weeks. And again, it's about making sure you're being patient and not making mistakes, because we don't want an answer of 11 there, because then we'd have made a mistake and added that 1 on, and they will do that to trick you. So here I'm going to have been 10 times. So this is kind of our number of walks now we're working out at the side. So I've been there 10 times, and I could add a column, but I'm just going to do some jottings. In the second week, 7 times and 4 times. I'm sure your mental maths is super quick and you know straight away that's 11. And then in week 3, 6 and 5, we've got 11 again. So now we've kind of added some more data to that table that was there before, but we've made it easier to see. So this is our total number of walks per week. But I actually might want to find out how many there are, or how many times I went for a walk across those 3 weeks. And instead of now adding all of these numbers together, we're still doing it, but we're going to use our subtotals. So I've got 10, 11 and 11. So our total walks, I can put at the bottom, is 32. And obviously these numbers are nice and easy to deal with. If they're more challenging, use some column addition. But we're not quite done there, because I might want to know how many times out of that 32 did I just go to the park. So we go back to, we've done our rows. Now we can come back to getting a subtotal for our columns. So we've got 2, 7 and 6 which we need to add together. That gives us 15. And the same for the pond as well. So we've got 8, 4 and 5. So we can put the 5 and the 4 together, which is 9. Add the 8, which gives us 17. And you would now hope these numbers aligned and made sense, because if I take 15 and add it to 17, we should get an answer of 32, and we do. So now we've got a really good understanding of our table, and we could go away and answer a range of questions. Because if they ask us how many days we went in total, we know that. If they ask us, well, where did Mr. Allsop prefer to walk the dog? Well, it's definitely the pond, or maybe Logan preferred to go there, so going to the pond. Where did I least prefer? Well, that's the alternative. On which day did I walk the least, or which week, sorry? And it's week 1. Or on which 2 weeks did I walk the same number of times? And then we could go to working out questions where we find out the difference between them. So in week 1 and 3, what is the difference between the amount of times I went to the park? So now we're looking at this number and this number. Week 1, week 3. The difference between them. Biggest take away the smallest. 6 take away 2 is 4. So again, we further analyse that data. So you could answer a range of questions, but ultimately it's about understanding what the table's doing. Hopefully you understand, because I've drawn an even better table for you. So this is maybe not an accurate representation of the weather in the UK, but it's mine that I've created. So we've got our table. I'm not going to talk too much about it because I want you to think about it carefully, but I'll just go through our headings. We've got our days of the week, Monday through to Friday. Haven't got the weekends on there because it's always sunny at the weekends. Then we've got whether the weather is sunny, whether it's raining or other. So it could be snowing, it could be just a bit cloudy, but I've literally just gone for really nice weather, really rubbish weather, and something else. And I've got some questions at the side. So I'm not going to talk too much about the numbers in the table, because it's it's a transferable skills from the previous table. But I want to know the totals. How many sunny days were there? How many rainy days were there? How many days were there where alternate weather occurred? Using the table again. What was the best day? So which had the nicest weather? Which day had the worst weather? Total number of days. So in here, each one of these numbers represents one day. So on that Monday had one sunny day. It then had 8 rainy days, and it had another day where we had alternate weather. So you've got to think about how many Mondays were there, and that's then going to help you answer the number of weeks. It's a little bit of a trick question, so be really careful and think about what that table's showing and what it's not showing. So have a go at answering those, pause the video, and then we'll go through some answers. Okay, let's have a look. So hopefully you made some jottings at the side, because that's going to really help us answer these questions. So we can do either our rows or our columns first, it doesn't really matter. If I work my way across though, Monday, in total, it looks like I documented 10 Mondays, 1, 8 and 1. 3 and 4 is 7, another 3 is 10. And hopefully I haven't missed any days out here. 5 and 5 and 0, 10. And 10 again. Oh, really difficult. 10 add 0, still 10. So you can see there, I've obviously documented a specific period of time and I haven't missed any of those days out, which is good. That means it's an accurate table. But then I want to know how many days was it sunny. So we've added up our rows, and that will help us later on. Now we're going to add up our columns. So our sun, when we add them all up, you should have had an answer of 27. Squeeze it on there at the bottom. Let's make sure we can see it. There we go. For our rainy days, when it was raining, 18. And then finally, when we had our alternate weather, our other weather, it's 5. Now it's up to you now, because you could do either quite some complicated maths, or you could be really sensible and just do some easy maths. Because when we looked at the other one, and I'll go back, 32's in the corner. 15 and 17 is 32, but also going down the side added up to 32. So what would you prefer to add up? Would you prefer to add up 27, 18 and 5? Or would you prefer to do 10, add 10, add 10, add 10, add 10? You could of course do both to double check, but just remember, good mathematicians are lazy mathematicians. Think for the smart way. So we've got 50 in the corner. Now we can go and answer some questions. So total sunny days, there were 27. Rain, 18. Other, 5. So we didn't have much snow or alternate weather. Which was the best day? This is where we just have to look inside the table and interpret that data. So obviously, best meaning really it's sunny. So we're going to work our way down and think, well, Monday, that only had one sunny Monday in that time. There were 3 there, 5 there. So it's 8. So our best day, I'm going to write it just above, was Thursday, which was our worst day. Now it could be open for debate because you might think, well actually that alternate weather, if it's snowing that's worse than rain, but we'll have a look. So actually there's only 3 there, so 3 is our biggest number. Let's have a look at rain though. You can see straight away Monday, pretty rubbish there, and actually it outranks that. And even if we put those two together, and you could have that argument about rain and other being similar, that's 7. So we'll just double check. We've got 5 and 0. I don't think we're going to be 8 and 1 or even 8 on its own. We've got 9. So actually the worst day was Monday. So again, it's not necessarily using the numbers around the side as our jottings, but it's interpreting the data on that table. But the jottings did help with the next question. Total number of days. Well, this table documents 50 days. And it brings us to our trick question. The total number of weeks. Now, we should know a week is 7 days. However, I've only documented Monday through to Friday. 10 in each. So really, we should have another 20 to add for that number, because there would have been 10 Saturdays, 10 Sundays, which gives us a grand total of 70. Now, 50 was still the answer to that question, but that maths is going to help us now, because we've got 70 that we need to divide by the number of days in a week, which is of course 7. So now we can use our inverse operation and think about something times by 7 equals 70, and whatever goes in that box is going to be the same. Now you've either got a really good 7 times table, or you're thinking about, well, it ends in a 0, and it is 10. So actually there's a bit of a trick question there, because it didn't show you all the information, but that was documenting 10 weeks. And of course it does make sense, because if there's 10 Mondays that have occurred, and 10 Tuesdays, etc., there's got to be 10 weeks in total. So, hopefully you found that interesting. Hopefully you learned something new. I will point out as well, it's right at the top, the things that tables absolutely need: a title, our subheadings, and then our data. So maybe have a go at creating a table of your own and try and answer similar questions. So think about, what do the rows add up to? What do the columns add up to? What do the totals add up to? And maybe create some challenging questions of your own.